Manny, I think Rolly has the WBO 147 title. He says you're his legacy fight. What? Rolando, he says you're his legacy fight.
You're looking in tremendous shape. You're ready to fight Barrios tonight and make history, Manny.
Manny, you excited to step into the ring again?
Yes.
What do you think of Barrios? He's a big, strong. What do you think of Barrios? He's a big, strong, he's young, he's 30. You have 16 years on him, Manny.
Don't worry about it. Manny, for a lot of people, you are the greatest fighter in history, the only champion in 4 different decades. When you beat Barrios, what does that say? Oh, it's a big thing. It's a big thing for me. And
Pacquiao will make a controversial return to the ring this July, setting out to break his own record as the sport's oldest welterweight world champion. When he faces Mario Barrios, Pacquiao's career is in the history books on many grounds. Not least the conquering of multiple divisions. Another reason is the thrillers he was involved in, which includes a rivalry with Mexico's Juan Manuel Marquez. Their 4-fight series was a cornerstone of early 2000s boxing, defined by razor-thin margins and dramatic momentum swings. Marquez, despite being the bitter rival who ended that saga with a devastating knockout win in 2012, has shown a surprisingly measured and supportive take on Pacquiao's comeback.
I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very well. Can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny.
Speaking to Pro Box TV, Marquez, who retired in 2014 as a 4-division champion, does not share the concern others do about Pacquiao's age, conditioning, or motivations. Instead, he urges the boxing world to give the legendary Filipino the benefit of the doubt if Pacquiao feels good, no shoulder, knee, or foot injuries, and he's perfectly fine. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what kind of fight he has to put up against Mario Barrios. Marquez said he emphasized that the key element to watch is how Pacquiao chooses to approach the fight stylistically. Will he be aggressive? Will he rely on his power? Because power is the last thing a fighter loses. Let's give the benefit of the doubt to a historic fighter. What matters is the integrity of the fighter. Pacquiao still hits hard. Let's see how Barrios handles that. Sugar Ray Leonard, widely regarded as one of the greatest boxers in history, Leonard himself made multiple comebacks throughout his career, the final one being in 1997 when he fought Hector Camacho at the age of 40 after a 6-year layoff. When asked about Pacquiao's return, Leonard was unapologetic and fully supportive. There's not one thing that will really make people understand why we do what we do, Leonard said, but you know what, God bless, stay healthy and take care. He likened Pacquiao's motivation to his own. I've made more comebacks than everybody, Leonard added. I hold the record undisputed. That statement rings particularly true as Leonard's later career was marked by retirements and returns, often in defiance of public and professional opinion. It seems Pacquiao is eager to walk the same path. Came back at one horrible
time. It was all me. It was my mindset. It was the way I felt. I believed I could win. I trained hard, but you know what? I won't do it again. You know what I mean? I won't do it again. But I can't tell someone don't do that. 'Cause I made too many comebacks.
As for Manny, just any advice from him at all?
Despite this support from legends, many observers see this as a mismatch in favor of Mario Barrios. Younger, fresher, and still active Barrios is seen by some as having too much energy and pace for a 46-year-old to handle. However, former two-time welterweight world champion Shawn Porter believes there's still a blueprint for Pacquiao to win. During a May 21st episode of the Porterweight podcast, Porter broke down exactly what Pacquiao must do to stand a chance. As you get a little bit older, a boxer's speed slows down mentally, psychologically. You don't feel it, your timing, it just slows down. That's time, Porter explained. He suggested that Pacquiao should start the fight with an explosive, high-tempo game plan. To me, I think Manny has to come out very strong, very fast in the first couple rounds because his gas tank ain't what it used to be.
We're here in Manila with the great legendary champion Manny Pacquiao, Sean Gibbons, and Manny is announcing the creation of the memorial for the 50th anniversary of Ali Frazier, the Thrill in Manila.
It was 50 years ago.
So next October 1st, 2025, many surprises to come.
Porter went further, saying that at 46, Pacquiao's stamina is unlikely to last 12 rounds at an elite pace, so he should front-load his energy. At 46 years old, you come out, and let's just say hypothetically your gas tank is half full. I'd rather use that half tank in 2 or 3 rounds and really get off on this kid. He continued, Porter believes that Barrios style could actually work in Pacquiao's favor, especially early. Another podcast contributor suggested that if Pacquiao hurts Barrios early, it might compromise Barrios' mobility in the later rounds. Porter agreed, indicating that such a scenario could turn the tide in Pacquiao's favor.
Gas tank ain't what it used to be. At 48 years old now, or 46, 47, 46 years old now, what?
Come out hot. Fucking around out of gas.
At 40,
and get stopped.
but think about it. At 46 years old, you come out, and let's just say hypothetically, your gas is half full at 46 years old. I'd rather try to use that half tank
when I got something
in 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And really get off on this kid because he has the kind of style. Styles make fights. He's
off and a loss to Hugo's. There's Grammar River. The idea of Pacquiao fighting Davis is polarizing. Davis is younger, faster, and considerably fresher, but the very idea of a 46-year-old even entertaining such a fight speaks to Pacquiao's enduring self-belief and legacy. His former opponent, Chris Algieri, has offered cautious optimism about Pacquiao's chances against Barrios. Algieri lost to Pacquiao in 2014 by unanimous decision, and remembers vividly how formidable the Filipino was in his prime. Writing for Boxing Scene, Algieri discussed the long-term toll that boxing takes on a fighter, particularly someone with a 72-fight resume like Pacquiao.
Really, look, I love Manny Pacquiao, but that doesn't entitle you to just walk back in after 6 years and get a number 4 ranking with the WBC.
I can fight anybody.
I don't know how Pacquiao coming back and getting a world title shot.
You know who you're dealing with?
46, Manny's not going to be the same guy. We saw Manny degrade when he was actually still fighting 4.5 years ago.
I think we're gonna be worried about what happens in that fight.
What about all the other guys that are waiting around and fight for a world title?
I think that's crazy, that he coming back. I mean, be able to unify, then be undisputed. If he get the belt, he get the belt.
So we know he's not going to.
Off and a loss to Hugo's. There's Grammar River. The idea of Pacquiao fighting Davis is polarizing. Davis is younger, faster, and considerably fresher, but the very idea of a 46-year-old even entertaining such a fight speaks to Pacquiao's enduring self-belief and legacy. His former opponent, Chris Algieri, has offered cautious optimism about Pacquiao's chances against Barrios. Algieri lost to Pacquiao in 2014 by unanimous decision, and remembers vividly how formidable the Filipino was in his prime. Writing for Boxing Scene, Algieri discussed the long-term toll that boxing takes on a fighter, particularly someone with a 72-fight resume like Pacquiao.
The interpretation is that the boxing public is upset because they believe Pacquiao's going to beat Barrios, which is going to lead to a Tank Pacquiao fight?
Yes, look around. Look in the Discord. That's what everybody, Pac and Tank, that's being set up.
Oh,
Tank
so,
and Pac.
okay, so they saying Barrios is the setup for Tank and Pac. I didn't see that, but your argument makes sense. If he beats Barrios, there's nothing wrong with him fighting Tank. But the issue is he don't deserve the Barrios fight off of 3 years off and a loss to Ugas.
Next, Crimea River
is 46 years old, has had 72 fights, and has fought 498 rounds. That's a lot of training camps, a lot of weight making, and a lot of wear and tear. Algieri wrote, he was also an aggressive fighter who at his best took risks and relied on his explosiveness and intensity abilities that are among the first to go Algeria acknowledged that while the odds are against Pacquiao, his skill set and experience can still give him a fighting chance. I suspect we'll see in the opening rounds at Las Vegas's M Grand if he's capable of being competitive. He could well look an old man straight away, but Pacquiao was a truly special fighter. He's also the best I ever fought, and while the odds may be stacked against him, I'm convinced he can win, and that makes him fighting Barrios very intriguing.
Are you cool with Pacquiao against Mario Barrios?
I am. I'm cool with it. If I was cool with Manny Pacquiao coming back and fighting Keith Thurman, I'm definitely going to be cool with this one. Barrios is not a puncher. Thurman was one of the biggest punchers in boxing. I think he's going to be just fine with Mario Barrios, who we know what he is on the top level. He comes up short. He's been stopped by fighters that are less than Manny Pacquiao and Davis. So I like this fight. I think he's not going to be an overwhelming favorite, but I think it'll be a 50-50 fight, regardless of his inactivity and age.
Floyd Mayweather keeps doing Algeria also brought up the point that Pacquiao has had repeated success against taller opponents throughout his career. Barrios stands at 5'10" in with a 71 and reach dimensions that suggest a size advantage over Pacquiao. But Pacquiao has long excelled at neutralizing taller fighters with quick in and out movement, sharp angles, and burst combinations from Oscar de la Hoya to Antonio Margarito. Pacquiao's ledger is filled with men who towered over him physically, so while the size may be a factor, it's not a definitive disadvantage.
But you're fighting for a non-pay-per-view event, so you're going to be fighting for free against a guy like Manny Pacquiao. Why? There are plenty of other fights to be making. But yet we're getting Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios. Is Manny Pacquiao even ready to fight in the ring? Why is he? I get he still loves the sport, but listen, you are an all-time great, a legend of the sport, a Hall of Famer. Why return? Why not just go pursue other things? If anything, do those little cheap expedition fights that you did last year, or those that are similar to that of what Floyd Mayweather keeps doing.
Comeback. Initially voicing concern, his tone softened. In a later interview, the shift from apprehension to reluctant optimism is representative of a broader tension in the boxing community, the clash between admiration for Pacquiao's legacy and concern for his long-term health. De La Hoya, who himself returned to the ring past his prime with disastrous results against Pacquiao in 2008, is acutely aware of what it means to be the older man in the ring. That memory likely adds extra weight to his commentary, and yet even with that experience, De La Hoya couldn't bring himself to rule Pacquiao out because writing off a fighter like him has historically been a mistake.
Surprising. Obviously, I know Manny very well. You know, he's a true competitor. He's a guy that if you put something in his head, and obviously to create more history, he's a guy that's going to give everything and try his best. That's what Manny. One thing I always learned with Manny is give 110% and try your best no matter what. So yeah, he's going to give it his all. Again, you can't beat Father Time, but Father Time is hard, and it was very hard watching him fight Lucas. You could see it.
Comeback. Initially voicing concern, his tone softened. In a later interview, the shift from apprehension to reluctant optimism is representative of a broader tension in the boxing community, the clash between admiration for Pacquiao's legacy and concern for his long-term health. De La Hoya, who himself returned to the ring past his prime with disastrous results against Pacquiao in 2008, is acutely aware of what it means to be the older man in the ring. That memory likely adds extra weight to his commentary, and yet even with that experience, De La Hoya couldn't bring himself to rule Pacquiao out because writing off a fighter like him has historically been a mistake.
What about Sugar Ray Leonard and Manny Pacquiao?
Man, Leonard run, man. Man, Leonard beat Pacquiao so damn bad. He'll knock him out. Cold. Ice cold, just like the one guy did. Marquez knocked him out.
What about poor Jeff over here? How would he done against Sugar Ray?
Transcension Teddy Atlas offered perhaps the most grounded voice in the entire discussion. His words came not just from experience, but from deep familiarity with the emotional and physical toll of boxing. He spoke as someone who has watched greats stay too long in the game and suffer for it. And his concern isn't rooted in doubt over Pacquiao's courage or determination. Those are unquestionable. It's the broader reality of diminishing reflexes, the increased risk of injury, and the unrelenting nature of a young, hungry opponent like Barrios that fuels Atlas's unease when a 46-year-old legend walks back into the ring. It's not just about what he has left. It's also about what the other guy has gained.
What do you think of Manny Pacquiao's comeback? He's coming back to fight Barrios for the WBC title at 147.
I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him.
Can he do it?
Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's he's a legend. You know,
some nice ones. Thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
We got to ask you about that Canelo and Terence Crawford tweet.
What was that?
Opponent, he's a legitimate threat, a powerful, aggressive, and physical fighter in his prime. Unlike the exhibition fights Pacquiao has dabbled in recently, this is a real championship out under live fire conditions. And while Barrios has tasted defeat before including a loss to Gervonta Davis, it's those kinds of fights that have seasoned him. He knows what it means to be on a big stage. He knows what it means to prepare for danger. And above all, he knows what it would mean to be the man who retired Manny Pacquiao for good.
And in that way, I'm very concerned. I don't want to stop anyone from making a living, from making money. But I'm very concerned with a guy, a great man, who's helped his people, who's fought for his people, who's lifted his people up, who's given away money to his people, probably too much, but he gave away money to his people, that is in a position now